this week on Cruisin' New England. Mustangs and miniatures, muscle cars and models. We're back in Ocala, Florida. And then it's kids, cars, and collectibles with Samantha Lee. I'm Paul Manette, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Cruisin' New England and sometimes beyond. Today I'm in Ocala, Florida at National Parts Depot, and we're going to have a look at some Mustangs. We're also going to find out what Samantha's up to. All this and more on Cruisin' New England. All my life, I've been cruising New England, meeting great people, visiting amazing places, and discovering wonderful classic and custom car collections, nostalgic automobilia, and so much more. Come on and join our adventure. I'm Paul Manette. Let's go cruising. Closed captioning for Cruisin' New England on Nesson is being brought to you by New England Recycling. Waste put to work. Cash for Gold, the place to sell your unwanted gold and diamonds. Where you sell your jewelry is as important as where you buy it. We at Cash for Gold are gold and diamond specialists. We will buy all size diamonds, gold chains, rings, bracelets, silver coins, and even broken jewelry. Often we pay 2 to 3 times higher than pawn shop prices. We also pay up to 90% of the daily price of both diamonds and gold. We are the original, authentic, family-run Cash for Gold and have been for over 35 years. Visit us at 527 South Broadway, Route 28 in Salem, New Hampshire.
Your special moments are something to remember. For weddings, portraits, and special events, contact Sparks Fly Photography.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Auto Rust Technicians. We've been welding and sandblasting and undercoating cars for over 35 years. If you got those problems, give us a call.
Hi, I'm Jim Grundy, your expert for old car insurance. For 60 years, my family's been insuring old cars, and for 40 of those years, we haven't had a rate increase. We believe we can save you up to 50% or more in your old car insurance. Did I say 50? You bet I did. I know some companies say 15, but I mean 50 or more. For the best rates and the best coverage you can buy on your old car, call or visit us online.
I'm Dick Shappy and deal in the finest classic motor cars, cycles, and vintage parts to collectors all over the world, but we're right here in New England. Vintage cars are like vintage wine. Both get better with proper care and time. I offer a luxury experience that's by appointment only. So check out my website, classiccars.ws, or call me at 401-521-5333 to find your personal piece of history.
We're back, and I'm in Ocala, Florida at National Parts Depot with the COO, Rick Schmidt.
Good to see you, Paul.
Nice to see you. It's always a pleasure to come down here and visit you.
Yeah, we love it when you come down.
You know, I called you up on the phone. I asked you, I says, listen, I want to see some Mustangs this time when I come. So what do you have for us today?
What we're standing in front of right now is two kind of upper halo Mustangs in the collector's world, and some of the top performers from the 60s. It's a 1968 Shelby GT500 KR Fastback. And then this one is a 1969 Boss 429 Mustang.
So you say this is the halo, this is the upper level for a collector.
Yeah, these two cars pretty much pull more water at auctions than most any other Mustangs, as far as production cars go.
So let's talk about the Shelby.
The Shelby has an interesting story. That used to be my mother's daily driver back in the 70s. My dad found that in a classified ad in Orlando in 1975 and purchased it as a slightly used car for my mom for about $2,000.
Now this is the actual car?
This is the actual car, yes.
And it's beautiful. You restored it?
Yeah, we restored it about 3 years ago to its present condition. We sweated every detail with it. It was a full nut and bolt restoration, but it's still holding on to all of its original interior. That was still in great shape, so I decided to leave that be. The original color is Highland Green. And the KR model specifically was a mid-1968 introduction of the Ford 428 Cobra Jet engine. Prior to the 428 Cobra Jet, Shelbys were equipped with 428 police interceptors. But the Cobra Jet was a new deal that Ford rolled out in 1968 that was kind of a recipe that had been put together in conjunction with Tasca Ford. And that's what the KR really stands for, is it's the mid-year switch over to the Cobra Jet mill. Shelby's had plenty of stripes and scoops and body modifications to differentiate them from a standard Mustang. The interiors had a special console and were all done in deluxe trim. And Paul, this car has an optional automatic tilt-away wheel. You open the door and the wheel pops away to make it easier to get in and out of the car. And other than the console and the roll bar with the shoulder harnesses, the racing harnesses, it's just a stock original Mustang interior in there. There's nothing that unique about it.
Well, Rick, the Shelby's known for power. Let's have a look at under the hood.
Yeah, let's take a look. It's got these twist hood locks that are ostensibly to make sure the hood doesn't fly up at high speeds. And there's a lot going on under there. This is a pretty rare one in that it's got factory air conditioning, so it really packs the engine compartment of a Mustang, shoving a 428 in there. Like I said, we recently went through the entire car with a fresh restoration, and it's detailed to the max. So
It's actually better than when it came off of the assembly line.
Oh yeah, they didn't look this pretty when they came off the assembly lines.
It really is beautiful.
But you know, the engine, the car's only got 57,000 original miles on it. So other than rings and bearings, it's all the original rotating assembly and everything, and it just runs sweet as can be. There we go.
Rick, what do you say we take the Shelby out on the road?
And this car actually came and went a couple of times. It was sold in the late 70s to a sheriff's detective who used it as a narcotics undercover car for about half a year. And then when he was done with his case that he was working on, that he drove this car in, he sold it back to my dad. And then in the early 80s, the car was in my mother's name, so she sold it to a gentleman in Georgia, and then Dad was able to buy it back from him in the early 90s. You don't see too many Shelbys out there that are still hanging on to all their original seat upholstery and door panels and all that, which I think just makes this car special and also shows that it lived a pretty charmed life. Even though it came and went, it's always been in the hands of careful owners who kept it garage kept. The car's never had even a dime's worth of rust anywhere on it. In fact, it's hardly even had a door ding in its lifetime. So it's come and gone, but it always comes back. It's not going anywhere now.
So this is a generation keeper for the Schmidt family, right?
Yes, this car's not leaving the family. Even after I go, I'm going to make sure that my daughters know what they need to do with this car, and what they need to do is keep it and take care of it.
Awesome. When we come back, a lot more Mustangs with Rick Schmidt right here in Ocala, Florida.
Order a bunch of parts to get ready for the car show this weekend?
And I got a hot deal, too.
You think? Think again.
Oh, man.
Tired of back orders? You need NPD. With 4 strategically located superstores, orders are shipped direct to your door within 1 to 3 business days. National Parts Depot has quality restoration parts for Ford Truck, Mustang, Camaro, Chevelle, and Firebird. For your free catalog, visit NPD online or call toll-free.
Find out what's happening. Get up-to-date information as I travel throughout New England and beyond. To get exclusive information and behind-the-scenes photos, join me on Facebook. I'm Paul Minette of Cruisin, New England at McMulkin Chevrolet. McMulkin has shipments arriving weekly of the new C7 Corvette.
People from all over the country buy their Corvettes from McMulkin Chevrolet to get the highest level of value and service.
McMulkin Chevrolet always has over 250 Corvettes in stock in their 3-story climate-controlled building. Remember, all roads lead to McMulkin Chevrolet. Check them out at McMulkin.net.
The Thompson Auto Group.
When September comes, the party begins. Cruise on over to the Big E in West Springfield, Massachusetts, September the 12th through the 28th.
Would you like to see more Cruisin' New England television? Now you can watch Cruisin' New England every day on our website television show. See past episodes featuring premier automobile collections, memorabilia, automobilia, and car shows. You'll see our visit with Charles Gould and his Matchbox Motors Micro Car Museum, the Chevy Guy, John Broden's car collection and automobilia, and a whole lot more. Join us on our website television show at cruisingNewEngland.com.
Don't miss the Amherst Outdoor Antique Auto Show and Flea Market, Amherst, New Hampshire. The last Sunday of the month, April through October. Over 500 spots. Gates open at 6 a.m. with free admission.
We're back, and I'm in Ocala, Florida with Rick Schmidt, and we're talking Mustangs. Rick, let's talk about the 65.
This little 65 here, this is the an early example of the Mustang. They were debuted in April of 1964, actually, but this is a 1965 model.
You know, it's unbelievable, very historic that when Mustang did debut this car, they sold, what, 22,000 in the first day, I guess?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. The Mustang was an enormous success. And this one is real special to us because it only has a little over 1,200 original miles on it. It's completely unrestored. Paint, chrome, interior, only 1,200 miles. It's like a brand new car. It's just a little stock 6-cylinder. You can climb in there to work on it. And since we sell parts at NPD, this is an enormous benchmark car for us because we use this to see what fasteners go where, what the plating is, and all sorts of little details that help us in our parts selling business.
Well, I know this is the place to come if you're looking for parts. And say someone goes out and they buy a 65, needs a lot of work, needs a lot of parts. This is the place to go, isn't it?
That's what we're here for. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Our catalogs have every last nut and bolt from the ground to the roof of these Mustangs. They're one of the easiest cars to restore on the planet because they're so popular and so plentiful that everything is reproduced for it. So you're never wanting for parts, you're never out at junkyards hunting for things. If the car needs it, we've got it in our catalog and we've got it in stock.
So Rick, you have two catalogs for the Mustang.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a catalog for the first generation of the Mustang that's marked as 1965 to 1973. And then we jump up to what's called the Fox generation of the Mustang, which was 1979 to 1993, which is also becoming a very, very popular car to collect and restore and to fix up. So we cover both those generations, the early 65 to 73 and the Fox 79 to 93. And it's a comprehensive selection. We're not just selling speed parts. We're not just selling tack-on, styling parts. We're selling what you really need to rebuild the car and do it right.
So Rick, how does NPD do it?
Well, we've been doing it for a long time. If you look at the 67 over here, this car we actually used to do restorations as part of our business back in the late 70s and early 80s while we were also selling parts. We started out selling parts for 2-passenger Thunderbirds. When this car was in our shop being restored, our Mustang parts catalog was more like a pamphlet than anything else. So we were just developing ourselves, and it's a very important car for us because this is the very first restoration we did. It was the first Mustang that we completely took apart and put back together. And our Mustang parts program kind of grew right out of this car being finished in our restoration shop.
So this is the premier car, really, of the collection you have here in terms of National Parts Depot.
Yes, in terms of National Parts Depot and our Mustang parts program, we learned a lot with this car. Yes.
Well, let's talk about the car.
It's a 1967. It's an S code, which was the big block 394 barrel engine, which was top of the line for engine availability on a Mustang in 1967, unless you bought a Shelby and you could get a 428. It's a beautiful car. A lot of people go for the convertibles and fastbacks, but this silver with the black vinyl roof, the car's like a tuxedo, real classy look to it, and it's just loaded with options. It's got the luxe interior, it's got the factory wood sport steering wheel, it's got the exterior decor group that has all the chrome and trim on the outside, the style steel wheels. It's even got a charcoal finned aluminum tail panel that was a rare option that really sharpens up the rear end of these cars. Air conditioning, it's just got everything on it, and it's a super car.
Well, can we have a look at under the hood?
Yeah, absolutely.
Looks like it came right out of the factory, my friend.
We're pretty proud of how well the restoration has held up. All of this, the paint, the upholstery of the car, all of that is just like we rolled it out of our shop in 1979. So a lot of times the measure of a good restoration is how long it lasts before paint starts bubbling and peeling and rust starts poking back out and things start looking shabby.
Well, let's have a look at the interior.
Yeah. 1967 had a killer interior if you checked the option box for the deluxe interior decor package. See all that brushed aluminum that goes across the dash, down the console, and across both doors. I just think that it's one of the best looking interiors for the entire first generation range of the Mustang, and it's another one of the big reasons I just love this car.
It's got beautiful styling. It's awesome. What do you have here?
This is a little go-kart that I was tipped off onto on eBay, and it was the seller was only about 20 miles away from here. And it's a classic, it's an original electric car, Mustang Junior body from back in the 60s. They made these kids' cars, and it's mated to a modern 50cc go-kart chassis. It's got electric start, it's got remote start, the headlights and tail lights are functional. The detail that the guy put into it was just incredible, so I had to have it, and my daughter's been scooting around in it since then. So
sounds good, I love it. Hey, you know, I wish Samantha was here to see this. We're gonna find out what Samantha's up to when we come back.
Still ahead, our Cars for Kids segment.
Welcome to the Town Fair Tire Recognition Award Series. Each week we're going to be giving away an award to recognize a classic car owner throughout New England. I'm here with Jim Giuliano. He's the Vice President of Marketing and Advertising for Town Fair Tire.
Paul, Town Fair Tire is a proud sponsor of the Recognition Award Series. At the end of the series, we're going to have a Town Fair Tire Choice Award winner for the $500 gift certificate.
It's going to be very exciting. Jim, I want to introduce you to Ernie Sylvia, and this is his 1931 Ford.
Ernie, tell us about your car.
Well, it's painted with PPG Hot Licks Cherry Red, and it has a 302 Ford motor.
And I tell you, it's really awesome looking. On behalf of Town Fair Tire, I'd like to present you with your award and your gift certificate.
Thank you very much.
Get to Town Fair Tire. You always get free mounting, free flat repair, free tire rotation, free snow tire changeover. Drive with confidence. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Town Fair Tire.
Hi, I'm Samantha, and this is our Cars for Kids segment. Our guest here today is Mark.
Nice to meet you, Samantha.
Nice to meet you. Well, this is a beautiful display. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. It's actually a half-scale replica of a 19-teens Ford dealership.
How did you get started with this?
When I was a little kid, I would build model cars about the size of your hand. But now, my friend Frank builds the half-scale cars, and I build the displays that go with them.
Oh, that's so cool. When did you start doing this?
This display we started about a month ago, and we worked every day straight, and now here we are with a finished display of the original style dealership that used to be a wagon and mule exchange, and wagon and mule exchanges became car dealerships when cars first came out.
Tell us about the various pieces of the display.
Sure. Well, the backdrop is actually a facade, and it has the original style Ford dealership signs that they would have on an original building. We have an antique gas pump, half size of course, that would hold normally 7 gallons of gas, and we have a little bit of gas in there. It's not real, of course. And we have some old buckets, some old oil cans, an old Coca-Cola thermometer, an old style mailbox, a milk jug, and a pail, because remember, when they were wagon and mule exchanges, the mules had to eat, and so they would be kept in the barn. And in the barn now we have a lift for cars and a hoist for engines and working on cars. So it's about the history of the transition between the old wagons and the new cars.
These cars are beautiful. Tell us about them.
Sure. This red one right here started off as a 1950s model miniature T as a go-kart for children. And back in the 1950s, they cost about $320. And my friend Frank restored the whole thing from the ground up. It was a rust bucket, and now it's a beautiful show car. And this black one is the coupe version, the car version. The red one's the pickup, of course. And again, Frank found this one and restored the whole thing himself. He even pinstriped it with the beautiful gold double pinstripes.
Will these cars actually drive?
Yes, in fact, they're running cars with a brand new lawnmower engine in them, and they can just pedal around on gas power.
And where would you see cars like this drive?
Well, nowadays you usually see them in parades. There's clubs like the Shriners that do parades, and in fact, we were in a parade with these actual cars in North Carolina. Samantha, let me show you the other side of the exhibit. Here we have a 1960s vintage speed shop. What happened with Model Ts is they became junkers, and kids in high school needed cars to ride, and they hot rodded them. So what you're sitting in now is a Model T that's been hot rodded. And it's right in front of a half-scale vintage speed shop, complete with a working garage, garbage can and broom, engine hoist, and your Krager wheels, jacks, torches, all miniature. This is actually a miniature Hemi engine, and Frank and I built the car, and we made the engine out of wooden carved vacuum forming cylinder heads here. This is a Corian blower out of countertop scrap, the holes that were cut out of kitchen countertop. And these, believe it or not, are handicap railings that were cut in half, and those are the exhaust system.
Lots of kids love to do artwork at school. Is that when you started?
Yes, I took lots of art classes when I was a kid, and I actually entered many poster contests, and I ended up winning them all. So I kept doing art my whole life and graduated with an art degree in college.
It sounds to me that you managed to combine art and history.
I did, and kids, you can too.
Thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
More Cruisin' New England when we come back.
Hi, my name is Neil Murley, Murley's Car Care Center. We are Southern New England's Sunoco race fuel dealer. Save on Sunoco race fuel right off Route 3 in Weymouth Heights. And good luck on the track.
These are the faces of childhood food allergies. To these kids, it's not about the inconvenience of restricting peanut products and other food allergens at school or at camp. To more than 6 million of our precious children, it can be a matter of life and death. Help us keep all of our children safe. Learn to recognize allergic reactions. Know the facts about food allergies.
Visit the Wood Museum of Springfield History in Springfield, Mass., home of the world's largest Indian motorcycle collection, and Springfield-built cars, like Rolls-Royce and the Duryea. Check out Cruisin' New England Productions' website. You'll see updated information about our fun car show series, including the Magical Mystery Cruise, the Circle of Champions, the Super Wheel Showdown, and the Spooktacular Cruisin' Classic. Also subscribe to Cruisin' New England magazine. We feature some of the hottest rides in the Northeast, along with event listings and a whole lot more. Don't miss a single issue. And if you want more information about sponsorships, advertising, or personal appearances by Paul Manette, email us at cruisenewengland@aol.com.
In the market for new tires, there's only one place to go. Town Fair Tire. We beat anyone, any day. Online prices, we beat them. Wholesale clubs, other tire dealers, we beat them. No matter what the brand or the size, Town Fair Tire will beat any price, any day. And you always get all these services free. That's why nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
We're back, and I'm in Ocala, Florida at National Parts Depot with the COO, Rick Schmidt. All right, the Boss 429, another speedster.
Yeah, and this is kind of the realization of a childhood dream. When I was a kid, I was always into Mustangs big time, and I was getting driven to school in a Shelby, but my dream car that I always wanted was a Boss 429 Mustang, and I was able to buy this back in 1997, and it's another one of my favorites in the collection.
This is kind of one of your pride and joy cars, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well, it's just the Boss 429 was an exercise in homologating the Hemi head Boss 429 engine so it was legal for NASCAR racing. Back in the 60s, stock car racing was truly stock car racing where they were using factory components. And to run an engine in NASCAR, you had to install and sell to the public at least 500 copies of that engine. Now, in 69-70, Ford was racing Torinos on the track, but for homologating and legalizing the Boss 429 engine, they installed them into Mustangs and called them the Boss 429. So that's how these cars came to be. They made a little bit over 850 of them in 1969, and they followed up with exactly 500 for 1970. After that, NASCAR changed the rules to where the Hemi heads, cylinder heads were illegal, so that was just a 2-year run for these engines. They are very valuable today. They've come down a little bit, but at the zenith, some of these cars were selling for over $500,000.
Well, let's talk about the interior.
And all the interior, including the carpeting. I mean, every stitch of that interior is all original to the car. It's got about 32,000 miles on it so far, and I'm responsible for about 5,000 miles of those.
Good for you.
Yeah.
This thing's been babied since birth.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's have a look under the hood.
Yeah, sure. Now, these cars took even more work to cram the engine into than the Shelby we were talking about. The Boss 429 is just a mammoth engine, and to make these fit, Ford outsourced the final assembly of these cars to Carcraft Engineering in Michigan, and you see how the aprons and the shock towers are moved to the side and lowered. You can see right over here where the shock tower has been moved out and down, which allowed for better suspension geometry and also widened the engine compartment enough to fit that huge engine into it. So it's hard to fake a Boss 429 for that reason, because there's a lot of nuance and details going on with those shock towers. This is really just a very nice, another car, and that's what I wanted. It's a car that's lived a charmed life. It's never seen any rust or collision. It's never seen much restoration whatsoever. Just good, careful, ownership. It's had one paint job in its life, and the engine was performance built in the early 80s by Earl Wade, who was a famous mechanic and worked with Dino Don Nicholson. So it's got a performance. The original engine is in the car, but it's built to run. Some of these cars were selling for over $500,000. I bought mine in '97, and every day I wake up every morning happy that I did before these things just took off to the moon.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
I've had a great day here today in Ocala, Florida with my friend Rick at National Parts Depot and a look at his Mustangs, and it was a lot of fun seeing Samantha. I'm Paul Manette. Until next time, I'll be cruising New England and sometimes beyond.